With no visceral connection to the topic.
What is happening?
I'm going to say this slowly so you understand. Stay out of my life and stay away from.
Well, let's see what the Dems are freaking out about today.
All right, y'all. We are back with another video. I
This
definitely had to bring y'all this from The View, Whoopi Goldberg and her minions.
Sunny
So
host
now here they go. They
got
gotta try
booed
to
off
point
the
out
set.
something that they feel like Donald Trump said wrong in his joint address to Congress speech. Now I seen like a little small clip online where it seemed like they trying to go off on Donald Trump, trying to say all he did was attack the Democrats. He wouldn't stop talking about Joe Biden. So they trying to take up for the Democrats, even though they Democrats. But you got these people that was sitting out. Donald Trump say something to them, and I don't think Donald Trump was putting more off on them. So I love that too. So please.
The tariffs will go on.
Let's see what these bitter bitches have to
That's a lot
say.
to unpack. So, if you watched, what were your takeaways? Just that last part about they inherited the worst economy. When Biden was in, we had the envy of the world. We had the world admired our economy.
Joe, but man, look, bro. You know good well we had the worst economy under Joe Biden. See, they can't even be real with themselves. She gonna sit here and try to take up for Joe Biden. No.
Bluetooth pairing.
She knows that. Here they go lying. Here come this dump. There's some AI crowd. They got clapping every time they say something stupid.
The whole thing was filled with lies. I watched the whole thing. It was lie like a bad stand-up comic he was doing.
You just want to call it a lie because you got to say that. You on The View, Joy Behar. You want to call him a lie when you used to love him before he started running. Donald Trump didn't
Our
have a lie.
friend Donald Trump,
the economy was worse
what they
under Joe
used
Biden.
to call him.
He was talking about that all through the campaign. Look how disrespectful the Democrats were being towards him. Then now he say something back to them, or he throw it in their face. Y'all the reason why this stuff is the prices of eggs is up. Y'all the reason why the illegal alien came across the border.
God
how he lying about it?
We
He's
don't
not
have
lying
to
about
worry
that. You know
about
he ain't lying.
a Democrat
You just want to say that because you don't want to agree with him.
For another motherfucking thing.
Lie after lie. But the worst one was that because he inherited the lowest unemployment since Nixon. He inherited a roaring stock market, which we saw took a tumble the other day, an inflation rate that Biden brought down from over 9% to 2.7%. And we were the economy envy of the world. Now we're just the enemy of the world. You know, everybody's mad at us. Canada's mad at us, and Canada's mad at him. Well,
Canada's, because I believe the rest of the world understands that Americans are questioning a lot of what's going on.
I hope they know that.
Yeah, they know that this is not a done deal because they're seeing that federal real people workers are being fired, all kinds of folks, and so they're seeing that how it's affected. So I will say that from the folks that I've spoken to in the couple of places where I speak to people, they're saying, what are y'all going to do? So we'll see. But I just wanted to do that.
As a matter of fact, regular Americans,
it was longer than Adrian Brody's Best Actor speech. This ran 100 minutes long, and I watched every minute. Here's what I will say: Donald Trump was not. It was very long. Donald Trump is not trying to bring in new voters because he doesn't need to. So this was a lot of red meat for his supporters. Though I thought I've got to give him credit, he knows how to make compelling TV. Knowing that most people like me weren't going to watch all 100 minutes, but it was a sweet moment.
Isn't he defunding cancer research?
Two mothers who lost their daughters, and then at the end he did acknowledge that we captured ISIS terrorists. These are all things that to Republicans are huge wins that they're excited about. But what stood out to me was the comment around tariffs, because the markets were in free fall yesterday, and he did acknowledge there's going to be a disturbance, and there was not a lot around the cost of living.
Why did he do that, do you think?
I think he's saying, bear with me. I have done all these things that you wanted.
But don't blame me.
He thinks that tariffs work. I don't agree with him. He is convinced.
Joy Behar is so freaking rude, bro. She about the only one that will at least acknowledge the things that she know, because we know that there's stuff that Donald Trump doing is right. We already know it. We know the things that he's doing.
For other voters, what's always bothered me about when Donald Trump speaks is he speaks for people who voted for him. And one thing of the old politicians of days gone,
people that voted for him, I'm saying that y'all Tell him to sit down because he kept screaming at Donald Trump.
The people that
wouldn't sit down and had to kick him out of there. And the entire night, all Democrats did, they would not stand up for the 13-year-old cancer survivor. They would not stand up for him.
Approval rating.
For Corey Compassator, his family, they wouldn't stand up for it. They wouldn't stand up for anything. They was being disrespectful the entire night, and you know it. And all you want to do is come on this show and say, "Oh, Donald Trump was attacking the Democrats. He kept bringing up Joe Biden." Yeah, because he letting everybody know that the problem that was going on is Joe Biden's fault. He haven't been in office that long, and he already got a lot of stuff did. Reacting to them. Back to what they're saying, and I'm going to correct them on. That's exactly what I'm going to do. They just react. You move on.
Moments, although produced in those speeches, I Riley's family and not feel for her. But that was the most insidious part of the entire night for me is the class war he is gauging right now. So he is bait and switching the working class.
Okay, so you said that was the most insidious part? So why didn't you bring up, why didn't the Democrats stand up for the ladies that lost their husband? Why you ain't talking about the Democrats not standing up for the 13-year-old boy?
The mothers that lost
why you ain't talking about that? See,
daughters.
They'll try to look over that. They ain't going to talk about that, but if a
constantly. And a lot of people who didn't vote for him have always seen that. But what bothers me is he's willing to say, he talked about the tariffs, he talked about a period of discomfort, but you know who he didn't tell it might be uncomfortable for? Elon Musk or the other 814 billionaires that live in this country who don't pay their taxes. All I'm wanting...
How you know who don't pay their taxes? How do you know who don't pay their taxes? What billionaire you know don't pay their taxes? See, this is the lies and stuff that they just spew out. They act like they know everything because they listen to these left-wing media idiots. They just say everything. How you know who pay their taxes and who don't pay their taxes? They just spew out anything, and this dumb crowd would just clap for anything. Wait, you want to hear? Who cares, Nick?
But major federal agencies that probably have some fat, that's fine. Why won't it hurt them for just a minute? Do you know why they flock to this country? Because it benefits them financially. That's why they're all here. So all I wanted to hear was, if the working class who is suffering the most is going to get hit with more, why don't we just let Elon Musk do one great thing for this nation and let him... let him and his buddies pay just slightly closer to a fair amount of taxes. That's all I want to hear.
Go ahead.
You know, I know how much this president loves his ratings, so I did not turn the TV on. I turned the TV on. I did was I watched the State of the People Summit.
You know the thing about Senator Holston, she would sit here and just tell a bald-faced lie. I guarantee you every last one of them at that table watched their entire speech because they got to watch it to be able to talk about what happened. So she gonna sit up here and get up here and lie. Oh, I didn't watch it. I just turned it off. She did that because she knew that dumb crowd was gonna clap. That's why she said that. I guarantee you she watched it because when you got to do segments about things, you got to watch it to be able to talk about it. It's just like sports. Anybody that do ESPN, they got to watch games to be able to talk about it the next day. And they know that they watched it. All of them watched it. But Sunday Holston want to be the odd one to say,
I tuned off at about 11:30 p.m. There were about 200,000 viewers. It was a 24-hour program. It included hours dedicated to the actual issues that our country is facing. For example, there was an economic hour, there was a legal hour, there was a faith-based hour. Minority leader Hakeem Jeffries showed up for that. Jasmine Crockett was there, other civil rights leaders. So unlike Trump's campaign speech, which is, I think, what we really saw, this was actually informative programming. And so that's what I watched. But I can speak in the next segment as to some of the clips that I saw.
And there you have it.
Boy, I tell you the truth, bro. They are freaking pathetic, bro. They are pathetic.
Good morning. Early today, right? For a change, I'm traveling, so it explains the somewhat erratic schedule. But welcome to all of you. It's good to have new faces here again on a day when I'm here on the stream early. We've got a lot of news.
Looks like Rachel Maddow is going to get fired.
Or about to be going on, or at least at the very least being deliberated as we speak at one MSNBC. We begin on Rachel Maddow possibly being out because this is a liability for a company, and they're looking at her and saying, you know what, she's basically
she talked a lot of shit about
we'll get into that. Plus,
George Reed getting fired too.
He's like completely out of money. And so he thinks that that's a reason to shut down the lawsuit against him. I don't think so. Trump is not going to do that. So tough luck. Hunter, I'm sorry, you can't sell any art now that daddy's not president. I guess that's just the way it goes. And then the other big story I want to get to, and this is just breaking as we speak, Kash Patel over at the FBI has discovered that there are 3 military informants, in other words, people within the U.S. military, the Army Division 2, that are currently or were active members, along with another that were selling intel and secrets to China. So we have to talk about that. Big story. Anyway, we begin on new demands for Rachel Maddow to be out. New demands for Rachel Maddow to be out at none other than one MSNBC. New calls for Rachel Maddow to be out at MSNBC as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, and it's in part because of, a variety of things, but you have only to look at some of her comments made the other night during the president's joint address in which she, for whatever reason, thought it was a good idea to go after this kid, a 13-year-old kid named DJ Daniels, who is a brain cancer survivor.
What the Democrats do.
He's been dealing with brain cancer since he was about 6 years old.
13
Somehow she thought this was
surgeries.
okay to go after him. And I'll tell you, this is really showcasing, I think, perhaps what is just so desperately wrong with politics. We got a couple new developments on this front. One, the father of DJ is calling her out, saying just unacceptable. And then you have the president of the United States calling her out, saying this is absolutely unacceptable. I think we can agree with him. Not sure what's going on with the camera. The hazard of being on the road, perhaps. Again, let's go over and take a look here at what Rachel Maddow actually said.
For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who's thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising Doge. The Doge cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer. I did indeed. You better believe. Off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer.
They did not. That's a lie.
Why does it want to go to that nothing shot? You got me. Anyway, I'm here. Rachel Maddow is clearly a problem and increasingly now a liability, if you would, for one MSNBC. They're turning into this SpinCo, right? The SpinCo, it's supposed to be the new company at MSNBC. They're going to take all the cable assets and roll them up and spin them off and separate them from Comcast, because Comcast, as a cable company, has learned that, the cable thing's not where it's at. They need to diversify away from that because it's a direct.
Together, you're in a suicide cult.
Democrats, how low can they go?
Screw you and the horse you rode in on.
This little
When
the left is singing, we're winning. This is a song for all the good people. Come on.
One bullet went through an office wall and into a computer monitor. This incident comes after a string of vandalism attempts for Teslas and Tesla dealerships across the nation.
Ready to die over Doge.
They were willing to fight and die for their rights.
Plus,
We are not chasing the bag. We are the bag.
if Kane's paddles and ponytails didn't scare anyone, try guitar. This is a song for all of those dreamers. We're looking for answers to come our way. Scientists, doctors, students, all seekers, sharing the hopes for a much brighter day. Democrats are going to need more than a guitar solo to sing the blues. They're going to need a whole band.
This little light of this little
Oh, God. Were those bubble guns? Did you see that? They were bubble guns. Insiders think the party's lost its way, and their response is, let's start a band and shoot some bubbles. Guess it's better than whatever this is.
Yo, this is the ranking Rizzler on appropriations, serving Connecticut's 3rd District. It's time to enter your dark academia Congress era. All right, besties. House appropriation is the money moves in Congress. We are not chasing the bag. We are the bag. Democrats are making life smoother through government funding. It's giving, So, Sigma, main character energy. See how I keep you informed? Very cutesy, very demure.
Democrats said choose your fighter, and they chose 80-year-olds with canes, cracked hips, and banjos. Even Jimmy Kimmel's embarrassed.
Yeah, we're not going to stand back and take it anymore. We're going to fight. What's that supposed to do besides embarrass everyone involved with it? You know, maybe I'll look into getting a medically induced coma for the next 4 years. Sleep it out.
I'd take 4 years off, too, if this who I was fighting. Trump's fighters are young, tough, and battle-tested. Democrats fought their way through traffic. That's about it. One congressman says this: there's no question that somewhere between 6 and a dozen of my colleagues are at a point where I don't think they have the faculties to do their job. He just said there's a dozen Joe Bidens in Congress. Some of them want to be dancers. Some of them want to be tough guys.
Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they call me a criminal. They call me a traitor. Their MAGA minions online come after me to try to intimidate me, to create fear. I'll tell you my response. My response to that is screw you and the horse you rode in.
You're going to jail. You're going to jail, Chuck.
Democrats are jockeying with each other to see who could be the loudest hooligan. Weird Al Green, who must be colorblind.
You're going to jail, Chuck.
Pasty White says the only reason he got censured was because he was black.
I had to sit in the back of the bus, the balcony of the movie, drink from a colored water fountain. When
listen,
the speaker,
you're not old enough, bitch.
That I would be removed. And then there was this resolution to censure me. It became obvious to me that I was not being treated as others were. Mm-hmm. And candidly speaking, it is invidious discrimination.
Weird Al's so famous, he took his ponytail to TMZ. Watch.
The president that evening called the Democratic members of Congress lunatics on national TV. The president called them lunatics.
They're acting like lunatics.
And he has not been reprimanded. He won't be censured.
The president
he uses
can't be reprimanded
to take advantage of our civility.
Hakeem's been telling Al to quiet down, but Al's not listening. He's only getting louder and louder. And Hakeem's fuming. Democrats are asking, would they have done that to Nancy? You know the answer. Never. When Nancy said shut it down, Democrats listened. Hakeem's been privately sitting down Democrats for come to Jesus meetings, but he won't even raise his voice at them. They're not being talked to like they're children. You got to treat these Democrats like they're kids. It's the only way they're going to grow up. You got to be firm. They don't respect Hakeem, and now it's a free-for-all.
Who is the leader of the Democratic Party right now?
Well, I got into trouble because I said to Mehdi Hassan on Zateo that we are leaderless. And I don't mean that we don't have leaders of the House and the Senate, but we don't have a presidential candidate. We don't have a clear answer of who that person is going to be for the next presidential election. We've lost, we have a new leader in the House. And so I think that it is difficult right now for the Democratic Party because we don't have a clear, defined leader.
Democrats have no leadership and no one's stepping up. They're all just singing, dancing, and swearing. And no one even knows what for.
For them, there is no policy. There's only opposition. Obviously, I reach out to both parties in conversation in doing my job. And I hear nothing from the Democratic Party in communicating a coherent agenda, in communicating a coherent message.
Democrats are just the opposition now. So when Trump stands for popular things that the country wants, the Democrats stand against it, and then they become more unpopular. It's a bottomless pit, and they're all going down together.
They're like trying to sort it out.
Bro, it's
like
so
they
funny when they
support
try to
each
solve
other,
the
they
problem.
go on each other's shows, and they're all in this together. Well, we need that on the left. Like, good luck.
Yeah,
You guys cancel each other if your Ukraine flag is too small.
Yeah. 6 by 6.
Yeah, you talk about each other for not having trans kids. You guys are out of your mind. You're not gonna sync up together. You're in a suicide cult.
All this advice Democrats are getting is worthless. Post videos, drop podcasts, fight, sue, play possum. Not one person's told the Democrats, listen. You can't talk down to people. There's this like Ivy League pretentiousness in the Democratic Party, I feel, where they're like, we know better, and just, you must be stupid if you don't agree with us. And it's like, all right, well, I'm stupid. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done then. So why doesn't somebody meet me where I'm stupid and start at least making me feel like I'm not an Joe Conch is a Fox News contributor, and Dan Turrentine's a former Democrat advisor and co-host of the morning meeting. Dan, what's with all the singing and the music playing?
Jesse, it's embarrassing. I mean, I guess fake it till you make it. I mean, I think a lot of them right now have kind of lost their minds. They're trying to kind of out Trump. They're not being who they are, right? Trump is an authentic street fighter. Like, it comes natural to him to do the taunts, to try to get in people's heads. We need to go back to just like the basics here. I mean,
You aware of any factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Yes or no?
Senator, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to answer that
No,
question.
it's not hypothetical. I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one
Based
has
on what
asked
you
me
know.
to investigate Liz Cheney. That is a
The
hypothetical.
president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president
Liz.
has
We're
called-
also
the
worried about
president-
Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
You know
called
what we
for
should
this.
be. Will Representative Green present himself to the will? By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
So Representative Al Green was just censured, and the Democrats' response.
You aware of any factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Yes or no?
Senator, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to answer that
No,
question.
it's not hypothetical. I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one
Based
has
on what
asked
you
me
know.
to investigate Liz Cheney. That is a
The
hypothetical.
president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president
Liz.
has
We're
called-
also
the
worried about
president-
Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
You know
called
what we
for
should
this-
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
The
please
crime rate
answer
in
my
California
questions.
right now
You
is
are
through
aware,
the roof.
Ms. Bondi.
Your robberies
Ms.
are
Bondi,
87 higher than the
my
national
question
average.
is this.
That's what I
My
want to
question
be
is
focused
this.
on, Senator.
Do you have the
If I'm
power to
confirmed
say
as
no
a
to?
Will Representative Green present himself to the will? By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
So Representative Al Green was just censured, and the Democrats' response is to break out into some kind of really bad chorus.
The House will come to order.
There's no helping them.
Will Representative Green?
Hello, YouTube. Pardon the interruption. I'll get you back to your video. Did you notice Kamala Harris's peculiar expression when Carrie Underwood sang a cappella? But one move by Carrie afterward left Harris utterly embarrassed. According to the original plan, Underwood was set to perform first after Trump delivered his inaugural speech, singing the song America the Beautiful. However, the music malfunctioned at that moment, causing a wave of panic among the crowd. Underwood quickly realized something was wrong, and after an awkward minute of silence in the hall, she began improvising, singing America the Beautiful a cappella. Politicians and socialites in the rotunda joined in, and the atmosphere immediately came alive. On closer observation,
Dems are panicking after Pam Bondi destroyed Adam Schiff with epic answer.
Will it be your advice to the president? No, Mr. President, I need to go over them on a case-by-case basis. Do not issue blanket pardons. Will that be your advice to the president?
Senator, I have not looked at any of those files. If confirmed, I will look at the files.
And will you be able to review hundreds of cases on day one?
I will look at every file I am asked to look at.
Of course you won't. So will you advise the president?
Can I answer the question?
Well, my question
I would
is,
have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
you'll be able to review
Listen, I'm
hundreds
not
of
going to
cases on the first day?
mislead this body, nor you.
All right, let me ask another question. You don't want to answer that. Let me ask
You were
another question.
censured by
It will
Congress
also-
Senator, for
it will
comments just
also-
like this. And
it
they're
will
so
also- Dems are panicking after Pam.
Oh, in private meetings, I've seen Joe Biden do cartwheels and handstands while doing trigonometry while solving all the nation's problems. We now know that every single person who said that has been lying to the American people. One day, Donald Trump couldn't hold a glass of water, and we had like every medical person coming out of the woodwork. So we have the 25th Amendment. Joe Biden could barely walk an aisle. If you called Kentucky Fried Chicken and said, I'd like to interview Colonel Sanders. Now, his face is on the bucket. He doesn't make the chicken anymore. In fact, he's not even alive anymore. This is what the Democrats are asking people to do. Oh, in private meetings, I've seen Joe Biden do.
Do you remember Stacy Plaskett? She has this woman behind her that's like this super autistic lady that's mouthing every word. Watch this. Look at her.
The laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020.
She made a mistake. So she leans over and says something
Would they
to
be
her.
representing what you said, correct? Answer by Ms. Demlow. They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that.
Oh my God, that's weird.
Weird. You remember Stacy Plaskett? She has this woman behind her that's like this super autistic lady that's mouthing every word. Watch this. Look at her.
The laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020.
She made a mistake. So she leans over and says something
Would they
to
be
her.
representing what you said, correct? Answer by Ms. Demlow. They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that.
Oh my God, that's weird.
Weird. You remember Stacy
The defendant is your father, and it is your claim that when you were 19,
You let the last administration get away with it, but the American people suffered as a result. Because when prices were rising in the United States, I didn't hear CNN talking about that much. As a matter of fact, you ignored most of it while it was hurting the American people. Let the president negotiate on tariff policy. That is what he's doing, and it's going to work out to the better. You didn't cover it the way it needed to be covered. Let's just be perfectly honest.
Okay, well,
You let the last administration get away with it, but
I will let the statement of the president stand for itself. I'm just not going to go into down a rabbit hole with you on this. I would.
Thank you. I'd like to give some love to the back row. I've heard that unfortunately they haven't been called on in years past. So Reagan, why don't you go ahead? Thanks, Caroline. The WHCA announced.
I will let the.
I wonder if you could assure us, at a minimum, that this negotiation process will not be as one-sided as the Europeans seem to think it is, that in fact, President Putin will also be made to engage in some concessions to reach this deal.
Well, I think the president knows how to make a deal better than anyone who has ever assumed the office of the American presidency. And in order to make a deal, you have to bring both sides to the table. And typically when you make a good deal, both sides leave that table a little bit unhappy.
I wonder if you could assure us.
Did Candace Owens really just expose Blake Lively's deepest secrets? Watch this, because it's wild. Candace Owens unleashed on Blake Lively, accusing her of covering up shocking truths. She called Lively's actions misguided and left fans in total disbelief. Social media is on fire with reactions. Some people...
Trump was always calling her Pocahontas, and Trump said that if she...
How wild is it that you can't, if you said the wrong thing on your podcast, people will be up in arms, but for some reason the president can say whatever the hell he wants to say.
Well, he's making fun of her
ever.
pretending to be a Native American.
Yeah.
He was joking about her. She's not really Native American.
Yeah.
And he called her Pocahontas, and he said if she took a DNA test and showed that she was Native American, he would donate $1 million to a charity of her choice.
Hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Trump was always calling her Pocahontas, and Trump said that if she...
How is it that you can't, if you said the wrong thing on your podcast, people will be up in arms, but for some reason the president can say whatever the hell he wants to say.
Well, he's making fun of her
ever.
pretending to be a Native American.
Yeah.
He was joking about her. She's not really Native American. And he called her Pocahontas, and he said if she took a DNA test and showed that she was Native American, he would donate $1 million to a charity of her choice.
So we are guilty for existing. We are guilty because we have an identity. We are guilty because we are members of Palestine.
You're guilty
the Palestinian
because
nation. The Palestinians
you're
are always
terrorists.
on probation.
I watch you mostly without any notes at all. And the ease with which you deal with some people that we both know are pretty hostile towards President Trump. And you do it with a smile and ease. Were you always